Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Peak Nutrition Podcast. Today is episode number 11, so we are flying now. But I don't want to mess around with your time, my time, anyone's time, because we're all busy, aren't we? Today we are talking about losing weight without giving up meals out. Is it possible? Can it be done? I guess just to start the conversation, I really want to emphasize that by meals out, I mean like any form of food that you're ordering. So takeaways, Uber Eats, just picking up some stuff on the way home, and obviously the more formal sit down meals in restaurants and what have you. So yeah, just to start the conversation with that, it's the umbrella term for all those kind of things. And my points that I'm going to bring up are relevant for all of those areas. So let's get into it. So fundamentally, I think we really want to get away from this mindset that meals out are a bad thing, that they're bad for us, they're unhealthy. One of my core principles as a coach is something called the deep health slash total health model. It's called different things. And it's just really this idea that health is made up of a number of areas. It's not just the classic physical health, things like your social health, your emotional health, financial health, how you're doing at work. All these things contribute to health. So your social life is important. And for many people, going out for dinner, having takeaways, things like that do add genuine value to their lives. Like they do take real social connection from that, enjoy the experience of tasting new food. And taking that away would actually detract from their overall quality of life. So even if their physical health might be a tiny, teeny bit better, it's probably not worth that trade-off in that instance. Just as a little tangent to that, it does really depend on your values and where you feel like you're at that time. It is a moving target. You're allowed to have different priorities at different phases of life. So yeah, it's a moving target, I guess, is where I wanted to go with that. So ultimately, we do want to get to the point where we're not choosing between having to like go out for dinner or anything like that and our health and fitness. We want to be able to find some degree of balance. So we need to therefore be able to manage these kind of things so that we can find a happy medium. Which leads me into my next point, and it's something that you'll be very familiar with from last week. And if you've not listened to last week's episode, get back there. So it's the all or nothing cycle, whereby people are either fully committed to their goal or they're not at all. So this really shows up as like, you have spells where you absolutely nail your exercise, you're cooking everything from scratch. You, I guess, living like a bit of a nun, and then the pendulum swings the other way. Where you cancel your membership, go out all the time, sack off all healthy foods, and you just get yourself in a little bit of a slump. But as we discussed last week, we really want to be able to find this middle ground. And I think this is so relevant for meals out, because when people are like all on it, they kind of just avoid these situations altogether. And then at times where they're in the nothing end of the spectrum, they are out all the time, constantly ordering Uber Eats, can't be fucked to cook from home. So as I said, we really want to find this middle ground so that we can carry on making progress and enjoying our social life. Like we need to learn to live and make progress. It's not a one or the other thing. So the middle part of the pendulum swing, that grey area, that imperfect action, good enough. There's so many different names for it. Just rattled off a load of shit there, and I. But we really want to find that area where we can move forward, but imperfectly. So imperfect progress is a real, I guess, catchphrase of mine. And I didn't make it up, so credit to whoever it is, but I don't know who it was. Circling back to specifically to meals out, I think what we really want is intentionality. So we want to be able to be a lot more purposeful about how you approach certain events, because clearly different events have different purposes, different people go in, they're different kinds of things. So for instance, a work function that you're not that really asked about compared to your best mate's stag do, they're completely different, and how you'd want to approach these should be different. And I think any nutrition approach should respect the difference in that. So just having these one size fits all approaches isn't sustainable, I don't think. So there's kind of three questions that I run my clients through when we are going through this. So we go, what is the purpose of the event? Who's going to be there? and what would a success look like? And then I caveat success by saying that that means incorporating some degree of the social element and being also cognizant of your health and fitness goals. Yeah, I just got cognizant in off the cuff, so I'm pretty impressed by that. But yeah, those 3 questions really frame the kind of approach you wanna approach it with. Jesus, words going now. From hero to zero, aren't we? But anyway, carry on. So that will really define our approach. We can use those questions to frame what kind of thing we might want to do. And there's a client of mine who has done this absolutely perfectly at the minute. So when we first started working together, a dinner out Friday would often turn into beer Saturday and just writing off the whole weekend. Then he'd wake up on Monday and in his own words, he'd feel like a lazy piece of shit, beating himself up. And in the past, he had tried to just avoid all kind of social events, obviously including meals out and takeaways within that phrase. But that did just get him into this all or nothing cycle where it was completely one or the other. Whereas now, there's certain times where he'll show up to the pub, just have a soft drink and order something very health conscious, like a lean chicken and salad type thing. And then other times he might choose to indulge more. But the key is that it's choice. He has been purposeful about it. He's made that decision and he's comfortable with the trade-off because he knows how to incorporate it into an overall healthy lifestyle pattern. So just to drill into that, the other week, he ended up going on a 3-day bender for the rugby. And weirdly enough, I was so happy about that because for weeks and weeks, he had been like, oh, there was this thing on, but I just chose to dial it in a little bit. And then for this one, he was like, oh, do you know what? This is a really important event. And for this one, he was like, no, I choose to indulge more in this. So you get my drift that having that presence of mind to be like, when do I want to get more involved? When do I not want to get as involved? Be a little bit more restrictive and focus more on the physical health element. Sorry, I just bashed the microphone there. Hope that doesn't come up too hard on camera, but we're doing this in one take, so let's get into it. So yeah, he was able to just make that choice of when he would and when he wouldn't prioritize his physical health or social health. Sorry, that was a bit of a ramble, but I think you get my point. So ultimately, I think there are kind of 3 areas that we can focus on to develop that strategy. Because obviously what I've said so far is very much like a meta conversation, whereas I actually do want to work towards more specific things. So I think we can really set ourselves up before the event. Then there's areas that we can much more focus on during the meal. So that might be things like our mindful eating, the choices we make. And then there are things we can do after to stop it spiraling. Because I do think that one of the biggest predictors of long-term success with the clients that I've had so far is that when something does crop up, like a meal out or a takeaway, it's not the act itself, it's how they react after that does determine their success. So having things in place to stop that spiraling over is so important. Some reference in that same client, what he does is he prepares his meals for the Monday and the Tuesday, so that even if it is a big weekend, he knows that there's a line in the sand there, and he will just get back to his normal routine as soon as possible afterwards. Which leads me on to the final thing I wanted to mention today. So I've actually come up with a toolkit. I've named it the Meal Out Survival Kit. I think that's what it's called, yeah. But yeah, essentially, it's a load of strategies you can implement straight away. They're really practical, following on from a lot of the things I was talking about there. But it is really designed to help you design your approach to each of these events, giving you a range of different things. Some of them are more restrictive than others. And by restrictive, I mean where you're more prioritizing your physical health, and other times having a bit more flexibility, a bit more freedom. I'll probably not explain it very well, but yeah, it's really good at helping you come up with some strategies so that you can enjoy your meals out without sabotaging your fitness goals, so that you can lose weight if that's something that you're trying to do. If health is important, if your physical health is important to you, we can definitely learn to incorporate both and find that degree of balance. So I won't carry on talking about it any longer, but I'll pop it in the show notes if you are interested. Otherwise, you can just head over to Instagram. Sorry about that. Head over to Instagram and ask me about it, and I'll send it your way. And that is me done for today. So enjoy the rest of your day, your weeks, your years, and take care.